The first time Emily saw the bird, it was huddled under a bench in the park, its tiny body trembling against the wind. Its wing hung awkwardly, a fragile limb too damaged to carry it back into the air. Mr. Whitaker was crouched nearby, his old tweed coat brushing the ground as he set a shallow dish of water before it. Emily had only recently begun taking morning walks, trying to clear her head after everything in her life had seemed to unravel at once. She hesitated, then asked if the bird was his. He smiled softly, shaking his head. No, but it needs someone to help it. There was something about the way he spoke, quiet, steady, certain, that made her kneel down beside him. The bird's eyes were bright, yet full of something she recognized all too well. Fear. Mr. Whitaker explained that a bird with a broken wing doesn't recover overnight. It has to relearn trust, strength, and patience before it can fly again. His words sank into her like drops of rain on dry soil. She had been avoiding mirrors lately, not because she disliked her reflection, but because she could see her disappointment staring back at her. The failed promotion, the breakup, the way she'd convinced herself she was not enough. The bird stayed in a small box on her balcony at first, safe but restless. Each day, Emily brought it fresh water, seeds, and gentle encouragement. She would watch its tiny chest rise and fall, its gaze fixed on the sky beyond the railing. It wanted more than anything to be out there, yet it couldn't. And in that longing, she saw herself, wanting to move forward, but trapped by invisible walls of doubt. Some mornings, she found herself talking to it. She told the bird about the meeting where she had fumbled her words, about the phone calls from friends she didn't return because she didn't know what to say. She whispered that maybe they were both broken in ways no one else could see. Mr. Whitaker visited often, bringing advice not only for the bird's healing, but for her own. Small steps, he'd say. You don't need to rush the sky. Emily didn't know whether he meant it for the bird or for her, but it didn't matter. In the stillness of those days, something began to shift, so quietly she almost didn't notice. The bird's recovery was not dramatic, nor was it quick. Some mornings it only managed to hop from one side of the box to the other, its injured wing twitching weakly. But Emily began to realize that progress didn't have to roar. It could whisper. She started applying that thought to her own life. When a challenging project at work landed on her desk, her first instinct was to pass it on to someone else. But something inside her paused. She remembered the bird leaning forward on the edge of the box, testing its balance. She decided to take the project. It wasn't easy. She spent long evenings designing layouts that didn't quite work, scrapping entire drafts when the ideas fell flat. Yet each time she pushed through, the voice in her head that once told her she wasn't capable grew a little quieter. One breezy afternoon, the bird managed to stretch both wings fully. Emily felt a rush of hope, the same way she did when her design finally came together after weeks of trial and error. The bird's eyes seemed brighter, and it stood taller, if such a thing could be said of a creature so small. When the day came to let it go, she carried the box to the park with Mr. Whitaker by her side. She opened the flaps, and for a moment, the bird didn't move. It looked around, tilting its head as if unsure what came next. Emily knew that feeling intimately, the weight of freedom after a long confinement, the hesitation before taking the first step. Then, with a sudden burst of movement, it lifted into the air. The flight wasn't perfect. Its wings still caught the wind unevenly, but it was enough. Emily watched until it disappeared among the trees, her chest aching in a way that was both sad and full of light. Mr. Whitaker rested a hand on her shoulder. "Sometimes," he said, "we just need to remember we can fly." She smiled, realizing he wasn't talking about the bird at all. In the weeks that followed, Emily noticed her steps felt steadier. She spoke up more in meetings. She called old friends. And one morning, she caught her reflection in the mirror and saw not disappointment, but a woman who had weathered a storm and learned she was stronger than she'd ever believed. The bird was gone, but its flight remained with her, proof that even the smallest wings can carry you to where you belong. Sometimes the strength we search for isn't something we need to find. It's something we need to remember. Like a bird's instinct to fly, our courage is never truly lost, only waiting for the moment we dare to use it again. Life will bend our wings, and storms will ground us, but those moments do not define the rest of our journey. What matters is the choice to rise, even if the first flight is unsteady. If this story touched you, share it with someone who might need a reminder today, and join us for more stories that speak to the heart.